Today we got an interesting conversation between Joe Rogan and Hollywood film director and producer Roger Avery. Now remember my stance. I only stand by the things that are physically true. I don't care of the results. I have no beliefs, no conceptual ideas to defend. I don't care how reality presents itself to us in its physical form. I just stand by it. It frees me of any burden of any belief, and it's a beautiful feeling. That's my stance. It's irrefutable, because if you cite physicality that can be tested and verified by all, I stand by it. That's my stance. So we're going to see a few visuals of maps, models, conceptual ideas in this video. None of it relates to me. I find the subject fascinating from a psychological point of view, and it's interesting to see the defense mechanisms displayed by Joe Rogan here. I'm not going to come in too much, but I will pause at a couple of points and just add a few things. So let's have a look.
The biggest conspiracy theory that freaks everybody out is flat Earth. Now, I don't know what the Earth is, but experientially, through the testimony of the eyes, it is flat. And there is very little chance that I will ever in my life, or most of us will ever in our life, experience anything other than what is effectively a flat Earth. And the way laser sighting across large bodies of water, or navigation maps for air travel, for pilots, is always a presumption of a flat Earth. It's always in the pilot manuals and on maps.
How so?
Well, if you're flying a jet at low altitude, you're not making corrections for curvature, even though you're going fast enough where you should be. And so what's actually happening there? Well, and so the idea is, look, I don't know what the world is or what the realm that we're in is, but experientially, from my perspective in life, it is nothing but it's a flat Earth.
But what about travel routes? Like, what about when they fly over Antarctica? What if they?
They don't fly over.
But you can
Antarctica.
Watch the sun rise and fall as
they don't
fly.
They don't even fly from Cape down to Buenos Aires.
There's an understanding of the precession of the equinoxes.
They travel up into.
Just obviously taking note here of Joe's automated defense mechanism type responses here, which we've all seen, which make no sense when we're talking about physical reality.
Into the other hemisphere and like land in London or something, and then travel back down whenever you're doing a flight across the Atlantic. And so, like when you look at it on a flat Earth map, and there are plenty of them.
Satellite photographs of Earth from space.
Those are all cartoons.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying that even the NASA, the guys who actually do those composites, those are composite imagery of. Listen, I am not saying that.
But it seems like you're saying that the Earth is possibly flat.
I'm saying experientially.
Right.
But that's a scale.
That's a scale issue, though.
Correct.
We're a tiny little thing on an enormous thing.
Correct.
But, snipers have to calculate for the curvature of the Earth when they shoot.
Only the curvature of the landscape that they're on.
Right. Why do you think the landscape curves?
The landscape doesn't curve. It is a mountainous and uneven.
Not always.
Uneven,
no. On flat plains, you have to do the same thing.
Well,
if you're making a long shot over a flat area, like if you had to shoot.
Well, then why don't pilots make adjustments?
I'm not a pilot. I don't know, but I do know that when you look at the film from the space station,
presume a flat Earth.
When you look at the film from the space station, you see an Earth that's not just round but spinning.
I see. The space station, the International Space Station is.
Again, it's appeals to authority here. We have to abandon physical reality and trust establishments that are not trustworthy anyway. I don't understand the logic. This is where beliefs, emotions come in to play and become a hindrance to the clarity of thought, to what should be quite easy to discern here of what's physically true and the things that are either red herrings or irrelevant to the actual physicality of the subject, which is the ground we walk upon.
Actually not high enough to see curvature, and what you're seeing is the lens distortion. And
It's not high enough to see curvature when
no,
you look out into the horizon?
it's actually even like it's very, very close to the.
Let's look at footage from the space station of Earth. So when you see satellite images that are taken of the Earth, you think they're lying? You think there's this grand conspiracy to piece all these pictures together and turn it into a circle instead of have it flat?
All I'm saying is that's the fundamental conspiracy theory that unravels everyone. And
well, it doesn't make any sense because
Certainly questioning the globe Earth is a big problem psychologically for members of the public because of this inbuilt belief, which is reinforced through visual sci-fi films and various other forms. And it provides a fascinating viewing for someone like myself to see the performance, which I've, of course, many times over the years now call it a pantomime. Just the performance itself. It's fascinating to watch. Rather than dress and own it, so many can't. And they put on this defense like performance of the silliest order. Crazy, bizarre, fascinating, and a little bit worrying.
everything that we see in the cosmos that's a planetary body is round, including stars.
We're talking about the Earth and Joe's looking away from the Earth. It's just crazy.
So it's all round, except for small moons. Everything is round, and that's because
I'm not even certain
that space exists.
that the moon is anything more than a plasma.
Joe, for space to exist, for spacecraft need to be in free fall around a ball. There is no ball in the first place, so the environment for which they say exists, which is cited when we see something go in the sky, which is they tell us is the ISS, the base story fails at a fundamental level, Joe, in a physical form. That's a major problem. That's the elephant in the room. This should blow your mind and anyone who realizes that. But because of the defensive mechanisms at play, hurdles are there, holding these people back. And as a result, rather than own it, which does happen, I'm pleased to say, which is incredibly empowering and freeing from these beliefs, the shackles, but rather than do that, most go into, like I say, the automated defense pantomime mode, where we get these silly performances, these silly things cited. Looking up at the sky appeals to authority, an authority that doesn't have a good reputation for telling the truth and integrity in the first place. Crazy. And I base the craziness because I always bring it back to what's physically true and then compare to what these people are telling me. Crazy.
A plasma.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That it's a plasma effect, a lenticular effect of some kind.
So that it's not a real thing, but it affects the tides. It is something that we have landed, at the very least, we've landed probes on.
Joe, you're just saying things that are just pure belief, yet you're saying them as if you were there. You're aware that you've ridden the tides up because the moon was pulling at it. You landed on the moon with probes. No, Joe, it's just beliefs. The psychology you're showing, the effects of it, Joe, in your responses when your belief system's questioned. I don't believe with everything this man's saying. I'm not necessarily on the same page. I find this subject fascinating because of the responses and the opinions and all the stuff that goes with this subject. There's so much psychology and fascinating behaviour at play with what really should be quite a simple, honest subject when you strip it bare.
We don't know that it affects the tides. People theorize
so this
that it affects the tides.
Footage from the space station. This is live footage from the space station.
And I'm saying that that's lens,
clearly...
and I'm saying that's lens curvature, and that what you're actually seeing.
Why do you think that's lens curvature?
And that what you're seeing is horizon.
So what you're talking about is like
I'm saying
a fisheye
if I'm trying
lens.
to provoke you, that's what I'm saying.
Right, but let's not do that right now because I don't want you to be completely fucking insane. Because this is a round body, just like the moon, just like Mars, just like Jupiter, just like Uranus.
That appears,
all the ones that
appears to be but in your practical life experience, you have to accept a certain amount of faith.
But
is what I'm getting at any moment.
But they understand the precession of the equinoxes. Okay, do you know that the precession of the equinoxes is how they measure the sky over a period of 26,000 years?
I see right there.
Like Joe's been there for them 26,000 years. And like that really refutes physical reality.
A little stitching, like right there.
So this would just keep going straight forever.
Do you
or
see
not?
that line?
Yeah,
Do you
that
see
line.
that line right there? What is that?
What is that line?
Yeah, what is that line? Well, that looks like stitching to me. It looks like they've stitched together, and it crosses over there through that mountain range right there.
That is weird, whatever that is. But
So Joe's evidence, his citation, which overrules physical reality, has problems in it. The live feed that they've brought up as evidence that physical reality is wrong has stitching in it, has problems in it. And my channel's littered with footage that is a major problem compared to the official story they tell us. Yet alone, the overall picture of things regarding physical reality highlighting the absurdity of the globe. Like I said, the biggest hurdle is not what's physically true here. It's a psychological issue based on beliefs and emotions, and ridiculous behavior patterns hold people back from seeing what's simply and is obviously and is physically true and discerning it from what is not.
By your very example, I'm just saying that you have to have a certain amount of faith in that. And on the surface, mundus vult decepi.
okay. You're freaking me out. Go back to that, Jamie. So what is the explanation? Go back a little
Yeah,
bit.
what is the explanation of that line right there?
I don't know.
Right, but how weird is that? That is weird that there's this line.
Right,
that's
because
very
that
clear.
in itself is a composite image, a cartoon that has been put together for you to look at this apparent live imagery that is being taken. And
is this multiple images that are supposedly pieced together? Is that what they're...
I'm saying that things fall into, like, the way perspective works is that things appear to fall into the horizon. But now you use what is that camera? Is it a P200 camera? Where you can actually zoom in and lift things out of the horizon that have appeared to fall into the horizon.
This live video feed from the International Space Station has
been interrupted because you're watching too much.
Due to either a change in the onboard camera configuration or a loss of...
Exactly. Quickly cut the feed. It's gone pear-shaped. And regarding optical so-called observations of boats supposedly going over the horizon, as I've stated many times, and of course in my previous video, the optical world is not the same as the physical world, which is when anyone cites long-range observations as some kind of physical proof. They need physical demonstrations to account for the many variables at play with observations. Train tracks don't converge in physical reality, yet they appear to optically. We need to account for the optical variables at play with physicality to make it rock solid. This is the real scientific way, without beliefs, without any kind of narrative, only standing by what's true, cross-referencing long-range observations, taking into account the variables with physicality as our backer. Unrefutable. It's just people don't like the results of the way that physical reality presents itself to us. It's unpleasant because it doesn't match the belief system that's been instilled in everyone.
Signal with the communications network. The video will return when the connection is reestablished. So this is during the live feed?
This isn't from NASA's YouTube channel. It's just down right now.
It's just down right now. Okay, so you're saying that this is like a fisheye effect of a lens.
Yeah, I'm saying
potentially.
I'm saying that, and that we can even see that whenever they're up there shooting with cameras outside, you're like, oh, there's
do you know how many
there's the
people-
curvature, and then every now and then the camera turns and it inverts for a moment, then it goes back down.
I've never seen that.
I watch a lot of NASA.
They use many different effects, and as a result, you get many different failures as well. That's in itself a technique to cause confusion. Again, strip it bare, what's physically true, and then what's not, what doesn't match what is the way reality presents itself to us is obviously nonsense. Because here's the thing, how can something be physically true, the globe, if it can't be physically demonstrated? It can. Can you cite me something being physically true, but not being able to be physically demonstrated? Again, I'm very simple and very logical with this subject. There's no emotions, no beliefs, just what is.
Stuff. And listen, I'm not saying that we're not living on a globe, or at least an oblate spheroid, as Neil deGrasse Tyson says. But have you ever noticed how spasticated that guy gets whenever you throw out the word flat Earth? He flips out like the way Robert De Niro flips out on like irrationally. He flips out.
He flips out when you say that men can't be women.
Right, I'm just going to forward it for a minute because they kind of go a bit wayward with the subject, start talking about trans. I don't want to go there. I just want to come back to the subject at play, which is about here.
We're all just trying to construct what reality is, and it tends to be a consensus of what it is. But, you know, there are fringes that on the ends that don't believe with what the consensus
I
says.
understand,
Are they wrong?
But do you
I don't believe anyone who's telling me physical reality is exactly the opposite that can be tested and verified by all, particularly if they are coming from authority and one that doesn't have a good reputation in the first place. I will not be gaslighted into stupidity based on emotions and beliefs. I've bypassed that trap, that hurdle, and so should you.
know how many people would have to be involved to promulgate this idea that
Again, another delusional defense mechanism, Joe. Men lie and can be deceived, and because of beliefs, have emotional attachments, and because of that, their common sense is abandoned. Prime example, everyone, yourself included, the mainstream, believe physical reality is exactly the opposite of what can be tested and verified by all. Is everyone in on it? No, of course not. People believe blindly, and when questioned, the defense mechanisms come into play, just like some of the ones you've displayed for us today, Joe.
there's a flat Earth, and you got to cover up that thing and pretend it's round. And what's the motivation of covering up the fact that the Earth is flat?
I mean, if we're really fundamentally getting down.
I mean, that's a very deep, big question to be answered. Can someone really fully answer that question honestly, without full exploration here? Of course, we should be granted full exploration based off the fact the way physical reality presents itself to us, and it doesn't match what we've been told by the education system and the so-called space authorities. So we've got a major problem. That's the elephant in the room. And what's physically true and the fact that doesn't match what we're being told should blow everyone's mind. And it does many. But still, because of the spells at play, so many are still struggling to walk away from those sci-fi box sets, Star Trek, Star Wars, and the globe Earth, and all the nonsense that goes with that delusional package.
To it, it's about God. And it's about what is this realm that we're in, and are we part of creation? And
But why would it be more likely God if it was flat?
Every culture throughout recorded history draws us in this kind of flat Earth.
Again, I don't go for any map, any model, any conceptual idea. I think that's asking for trouble. I simply stand by what is. Full exploration will answer those questions. Anything other than what's physically true becomes a belief for me, and I'm not willing to do that.
Fish environment with a dome, a firmament that covers it up until like when the 1930s or
Right,
so.
when they start making telescopes.
Right.
I mean, so this is a grand conspiracy, like Galileo was wrong, Copernicus was...
Just beliefs, Joe. Beliefs in things, men blindly believing in things that are obviously physically true. That's been proven at this point in time. The subject wouldn't exist in itself. All the mainstream has is kind of fallacious reasoning. It's just insane. And the behaviour, the mechanisms like we've seen here are fascinating, although quite worrying.
Wrong. All these people
All
didn't
of
know.
recorded history is wrong. And I mean, the other option is that we are just specks of nothing floating around in an endless vast.
I think that's it. Fascinating stuff. Really interesting to see. Of course, a lot of people call Joe Rogan a shill based on his delusional U-turn regarding the moon landing, so-called moon landing. Again, we've seen quite a few U-turns recently with some people who were considered truthers in the first place, who, if you actually analyse their stance from day one, it was all over the place. It was illogical. One minute it could be logical, the next it was promoting conceptual ideas at the expense of what was physically true. So on the other hand, they were illogical. So it's obvious who's who based on their stance and what they've been about from day one. Are they true? Are they logical? Do they have honesty and integrity? Have they been the same throughout? Or have they jumped about? Physical reality will never let you down and never deceive you. That's why I chose to stand by it. Have a good weekend, everyone.